Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Donald Farnelli, Grand Marshal.
Good morning, members of the class of 2015, families, friends, and the Rowan University community. My name is Dr. Donald Alfonso Farnelli. I am an associate professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy at Rowan University. Currently, I am completing my 51st year here at Rowan. As the longest tenured full-time faculty member on campus, I am honored to present today's invocation, benediction, and serve as Grand Marshal for Commencement. On this special day, before we move on with the milestone event, I ask that our graduates, their loved ones, their professors, their friends, reflect on what has brought us here today and who has been with you on your journey. Graduates, no doubt people have inspired you. Many opportunities have helped to form you. You have been impacted by people and by circumstances. Nonetheless, you have done the work, made the choices that bring us all here today. You persevered in college, tested yourself, took chances, and succeeded. You have grown as a student and as a person. Give thanks for those people and events that have helped bring you here today, your college commencement, and congratulate yourselves. Family, friends, professors, staff, community members, honored guests, join our students in celebrating all that has made this day a reality. May this commencement ceremony be memorable to all of you. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rowan University Provost, Dr. Jim Newell.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guests. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. University leadership, Dr. Ollie Hushmand, President. Dr. Toby Oxholm, Executive Vice President. Members of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, Ms. Isabelita Abel, Mr. Chad Bruner, Mr. George Loesch, Mr. Larry Salva, Ms. Virginia Smith, Ms. Jamie Lynn Kistart, Student Trustee, and Mr. Kunal Patel, Student Trustee. Deans, Dr. Karen McGee-Sauer, College of Science and Mathematics and School of Biomedical Sciences and Health Professions. Dr. Anthony Lohman, Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering. Our distinguished guests, Dr. Henry Rowan, benefactor. Ms. Lisa Marina, Chair, South Jersey Technology Park Board of Directors. Mr. Joseph Chen, SGA President. Senator James Beach. And our commencement speakers, Dr. Bonnie Dunbar, MD, Anderson Professor of Mechanical and Biomedical Engineering and Director of the STEM Center at the University of Houston. Mr. Walt Walker, Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering Secondary Ceremony Speaker. Mr. Tom Pote, School of Biomedical Sciences and Health Professions, Secondary Ceremony Speaker. Members of the Cabinet, Dean's Council, Faculty Marshals, and other senior members of the administration. Last but not least, there are two very important constituencies that must be recognized as well. Students, please rise and face the people who are most important to your life, your parents, partners, brothers, sisters, and loved ones who have provided support and resources during the past several years. Applaud them as you stand here ready to graduate. And secondly, please recognize your Rowan family, the faculty, staff, and administrators who share in your pride and success today. Please be seated.
Good morning and welcome. It's a beautiful day. This is the day that all of you have been working toward after semesters, classes, labs, late nights, all-nighters, sacrificed social engagements, internships, jobs. This is your day. You've done it, you've made it, and you should be very proud. My name is Virginia Smith. I'm a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, and I have the honor of congratulating the members of the class of 2015 on this, your commencement day. I also have the honor of welcoming your family and your friends to Rowan University on behalf of the board, the administrators, the faculty, and the staff. I am especially gratified to be addressing you, the graduates of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering, the College of Science and Mathematics, and the School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions. No doubt, before me are some of the men and women who will revolutionize tomorrow. Among you are those who will explore, create, develop new technologies that will improve and enhance our lives. Others of you will find cures for diseases and for the conditions that plague so many. I predict that all of you will make a difference in this world, making it an even better, safer, and healthier one. You are all students of what the world now calls STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Expertise in these areas is absolutely critical because it is vital to those who truly want to make this difference in the world. You are our future engineers, scientists, doctors, professors, business people, and entrepreneurs. On a very personal note, this ceremony in particular is very poignant for me. It's even a little emotional for me. This is the first graduation of students in the newly named Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering. As many of you know, Henry Rowan is my father. He and our family treasure having the school named in his honor because it means that his name will forever be associated with excellence in engineering for generations to come. He is passionate about education that promotes science, technology, engineering, and math, and I know he's proud of the fact that all of you are, in a very real way, his students. Engineering students, science and math students, biomedical science and health profession students, you have attended Rowan during an amazing period of growth. During your academic career, we have not only expanded research at Rowan and at the South Jersey Tech Park, but we've also been designated as a state research institution. In addition, we founded one medical school and integrated a second one under the Rowan name. We watched Rowan Boulevard grow. We added students and faculty, programs and majors. You are part of a Rowan University generation of great progress. And while the Rowan degree that you earn today carries exceptional value in the job market and in the region, I fully expect it will only gain more prestige as Rowan reaches more and more of its goals. Today you sit here in your caps and gowns, excited, maybe a little nervous, anxious, or probably just impatient to get on with your lives. Yes, one chapter of your life is ending, a chapter that took you from childhood to adulthood. The next chapter is in front of you. The next is up to you, and the world is waiting for you. Today is a big day. Tomorrow will include more big days. Meet those days with confidence, pursue opportunities, tackle challenges, be open to learning, become technology leaders, be leaders in future education, leaders in your communities, leaders in this country, and indeed, leaders in the world. Graduates of the class of 2015, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the administration, the professors and staff, I offer you sincere congratulations, and I wish you the very best. Stay in touch with your alma mater. Make a difference in your world. I know you will. Thank you.
Good morning. Come on, show me some energy, excitement. Good morning. I am Ali Hushman, president of Rowan University, and unlike Dr. Farnelli, I've only been here for 9 years. This is a beautiful day. Rowan University class of 2015. I'm not talking about weather. It's hot. It's really hot. Now, I'm not even talking about the setting. Though like you, I love our campus. It looks really, really beautiful. Today is a beautiful day because it represents so much to all of you, to your family and friends, and to the professors, staff, administrators, and boards at Rowan University. This is the culmination of years of hard work. This is the day that marks a major transition for you and a major accomplishment for all. Accomplishment. When I was preparing for today, accomplishment was one of the 3 words that quickly came to mind. The other 2 were change and pride. I want to speak briefly with you about these 3 words because they reflect you and they reflect this institution. Commencement is about more than an end to finals or a day of caps and gowns and celebrations. This is about accomplishments. I applaud you for the time and energy you put into earning your degree, whether it's undergraduate or graduate. In our culture, a college degree is an indicator of education, of course, but also of socioeconomic status, earning potential, and more. It is not easy earning a college degree. It takes talent, drive, and determination. It takes commitment. It takes the ability to recognize opportunities, whether to conduct research with a professor or lead a student group or study abroad. You have all of these qualities, and those attributes are integral to our school. Rowan is known for seizing opportunities, for taking chances that benefits the university and the community, from K through 12 students to businesses, for being deeply committed to education and to our region. Rowan works to ensure all students have access to an affordable, quality education. And Rowan is known for accomplishing what it sets out to do. We have experienced growth, great growth, in the last few years. Today, we are 15,000 students strong. We have had a 25% growth in applications this year alone, not to mention the quality of the applicants. We have more than 88,000 alumni. As for change, you have evolved. Whether you have attended Rowan for 1 year or 6, whether you have majored in engineering or the sciences, mathematics or the health profession, psychology or nursing, you have evolved while here. Undergraduate students went from being teenagers to adults. Graduate students may have gone from one classroom to another to pursue degrees that will foster their professional lives in a place they have worked for years. As you have changed, so too has Rowan. For most of you, during your tenure here, we have added 2 medical schools, gained research institution status, expanded Rowan Boulevard, and added new programs and degrees. We have broken ground for new facilities for the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering and William G. Rowan College of Business. We have added students and faculty, incredibly bright students and amazingly talented faculty who could have attended or taught many places and chose Rowan. We have grown in size and prestige. We, the Rowan family, are proud of all of you. During your time here, you have gotten to know many of us and became close to some of us, no doubt. Faculty have taught you, faculty and staff have mentored you, perhaps someone tutored you or tortured you or counseled you. Perhaps someone connected you to an internship or job possibilities. Regardless of in what context, you have gotten to know people who have impacted your life. I trust you are proud as well in yourself and in this university. Rowan is an unprecedented path. Our university has long been a regional leader in education. Today, we are poised to become a national leader. We see that in the opportunities the state of New Jersey has afforded us and in the federal organizations and Fortune 500 firms that fund so much of our research. We see that in the award our professors and students earn and in the companies that seek us out for partnerships. We see that in the businesses and school districts and organizations that hire our graduates. I hope this makes you proud of your Rowan degree. This degree is your entree into your future. As Rowan continues to evolve, that degree will only become more valuable. You are part of a big family. Those who came before you have helped provide for your education. I hope you will consider doing the same for future Rowan students, whether that is in a contribution of your time or your resources. Graduates, on behalf of the entire Rowan community, I congratulate you on what you have accomplished here. I wish you great success. I trust you will make a difference in this world. Thank you for being here and congratulations. And now, I ask Trustee Virginia Smith to introduce our commencement speaker.
I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Bonnie Jean Dunbar. Dr. Bonnie Jean Dunbar has accomplished more than many of us have ever even dreamed about. A member of the United States Astronaut Hall of Fame and at NASA for 27 years, she is a veteran of 5 NASA space flights. 5 NASA space flights, logging more than 50 days. That's 50 days in space. Dr. Dunbar is a professional engineer with a doctorate in mechanical biomedical engineering. She served at the Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center and became an astronaut in 1981. During this time, she operated Space Lab, performed a variety of experiments, and in 1992 served as payload commander on the STS Columbia. She was part of the crew on the Atlantis, the first space shuttle mission to dock with the Russian space station Mir in 1995. She was payload commander on the STS Endeavor's docking mission, where 9,000 pounds of scientific equipment and water were transferred from the Endeavor to the Mir space station. Dr. Dunbar held many positions at NASA, including Deputy Associate Administrator, Office of Life and Microgravity Sciences, Assistant Director of the Johnson Space Center Mission Operations, Assistant Director to Johnson Space Center with focus on university research, Deputy Associate Director for Biological Sciences and Applications, Associate Director, Technology, Integration, and Risk Management. When she retired from NASA in 1995, NASA presented her with an Exceptional Achievement Medal and an Outstanding Leadership Award. This highly awarded astronaut has accomplished much more. Currently, she's a professor of engineering and director of the University of Houston's STEM Center. She has served as president and CEO of the Museum of Flight in Seattle. She's worked in operations research for Rockwell International and is a systems analyst for Boeing Computer Services. In addition, she was inducted into the Women in Technology International Hall of Fame, elected into the National Academy of Engineering, which is a high honor, a member of the National Science Foundation Engineering Advisory Board, and in 2013, she was selected by the Astronaut Hall of Fame. She's also a fellow in the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, American Ceramic Society, National Institute of Ceramic Engineers, Tau Beta Phi, Engineering Honor Society, and numerous groups have rewarded her, and I can't name them all. Society of Women Engineers, International Academy of Astronautics, Association of Space Explorers, IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronical Engineers, University of Houston, as well as many others. It's an impressive list. It is an honor for all of us today to welcome this exceptional individual as our guest. If you will allow me the metaphor appropriate for an astronaut, I expect that you will find her address to be out of this world. It is my distinct honor to welcome former astronaut Dr. Bonnie Jean Dunbar.
Well, thank you very much. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here, President Hushman, and to the Provost Newell, to the trustees, to Trustee Smith and her father, Mr. Rowan, to the platform party, to the faculty, to the deans, to the students, to the families, and friends of everyone here. All of the prior speakers have applauded your achievements, and I echo that, and I hope to amplify it, have appreciated the support of family and faculty, and I know and I hope that you understand how important they've been to your journey. So when I spoke to a number of students and asked them what they wanted to hear out of a commencement address, I had two predominant replies. What's it like in space? And how was it that you became an astronaut? What was your journey? So I'm going to address both of those, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the future. But first of all, let me tell you that my journey is not very different than yours. You have the potential to be anything you'd like to be. What I was intensely curious. My grandparents immigrated to this country a little over 100 years ago. In fact, my grandfather came from Dundee, Scotland. I think if you were to do the mileage math on that, it's going to be a little over 3,000 miles. He landed at Ellis Island, which is about 103 miles away. And I am going to do a little math here, but not ask you to complete any equations, so don't worry. He stayed on the East Coast for about a year while he raised enough money to go west. He came, like many immigrants, at the age of 19 with very little in his pocket and a one-way ticket. What he did have was a dream to own his own land, and he was equipped with a culture of education. So although he had finished the equivalent of high school in Dundee, Scotland, he was not able to go to a university. He was from a family of farm laborers and milkmaids, and there was no history of higher education in my family for as many hundred years as we can at least trace. But he came to this land because it was a land of opportunity. He found a job up in New York, in Syracuse, New York, breaking horses. And for a year he did that until he had enough money to board a train west. He landed in Oregon State, in a little place called Condon, Oregon, which was Scottish community, and that's probably about 2,300 miles away, and had 3 sons, one my father. My father fought in World War II. He finished high school and then joined the Marines, and he had a dream. He had a dream to have a cattle ranch. And in the little town of Condon, Oregon, he met my mother, who was one of 9 children who grew up on a sheep ranch in Montana. And when her father died, she had to leave school. She was only 16. But my mother had a culture of education. She loved to learn, and it broke her heart not to be able to graduate from high school. In fact, at the age of 88, that's still her biggest regret in life, but she is very much self-taught. So even though I grew up on a homestead in Washington State with no indoor plumbing until I was probably 13, and taking baths in a tub in the kitchen where we heated water on the stove, I did not feel deprived. I felt very wealthy because I had learned to read. My parents taught me to read at about the age of 5. And I read about the world. I read about peoples. My favorite book was a geography book. And I was at the age that I could observe the world around me when Sputnik was launched. I was 8 years old, and we went out to the front yard and we watched it go over. And that was exciting because the books I was reading included H.G. Wells and Jules Verne, missions to the moon, missions to Mars. And I know for some of you, since I'm now a college professor, for most of you out there that are getting ready to graduate, you may not know who some of the authors or the TV programs that existed at that time. Flash Gordon, I know some in the back may know who Flash Gordon was. But Flash Gordon was a black and white TV program when we finally acquired a TV. And this astronaut explored the universe. And all I could think about was that's what I wanted to do. I wasn't thinking about college degrees. I wasn't thinking about income. I was thinking about the excitement of exploration. And I kept remembering something my grandfather said to me. He lived till he was 92 and an influence on my life. He said, the most important possession you have is knowledge. No one can take that from you. And you can build upon it. It's a lifetime learning process. Even at the age of 91, he was so excited, he called me and said, I've just read this book. It's about how the moon causes tides. And he was absolutely thrilled to learn about that. Well, I didn't know much about college, but I knew I wanted to go to space. And I went to a small school in Outlook, Washington, 22 in my class till the 8th grade. And my 8th grade teacher asked me as I was preparing to take another bus into high school. I was going to go to high school. That was a decision not everyone in my generation took. But I read in a book that if you wanted to be an astronaut, you actually had to finish high school and go on to a university. And Mr. Miller asked me what I wanted to become when I grew up, and I said I wanted to be an astronaut and I wanted to build spaceships. And he said, well, Bonnie, you'll have to know algebra. And I said, what's that? And he said, trust me. So I went into Sunnyside High School and I studied algebra and geometry and trigonometry and math analysis, pre-calculus, biology, chemistry, physics, 2 years of Latin, speech, debate, and I was a cheerleader for 4 years and played basketball. And I know I'm short, but it's a small school. You get to do a lot of things in a small school. And then I got good grades. And I became a senior, and under the National Defense Education Act, which was put in place by President Eisenhower and President Kennedy to educate people just like you, engineers and scientists, because we needed them, I qualified for a grant and a loan, and I was accepted to the University of Washington, but I didn't know what to major in. I went to my physics teacher, Mr. Anderson, and I said, I have all these colleges to choose from. What should I be? And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be an astronaut, and I want to build spaceships. And he said, well, I suggest you become an engineer. And I said, what's that? And he said, trust me. So I matriculated into engineering in 1967, and my Freshman year, we had to pick a branch of engineering. I thought about aeronautical. That sounded like that would align with my interests. But each of the departments was recruiting students. And one day I got a call from Mr. James I. Muller, Dr. James I. Muller, who was chair of the Mining, Metallurgical, and Ceramic Engineering Department. He says, "I hear you want to be an astronaut." He didn't laugh. By the way, you didn't hear anybody laughing about this. You know, there's a common belief that's not true, that if you share your real goals, that maybe somebody will laugh at you. And if they do, that's okay. But if you don't share them, no one knows. And I felt free about sharing my goals. So I told Doc, as his name was, well, this is what I would like to do. And he said, well, you know, we have a NASA grant. We're designing materials for the thermal protection system of the space shuttle. This is in the late 60s. Most of the public didn't know about this vehicle. And he showed me a picture, a space plane, a reusable space plane that would launch like a rocket and land like an airplane and could be reusable. And he said, and if you come be a student in my department, I'll give you a summer job and I'll introduce you to NASA engineers. Sold. I became a ceramic engineer. Well, to make a long story short, I graduated. I eventually went to work for Rockwell, building a spaceship, the space shuttle. I worked in Palmdale, California, and I loved getting up every day because I flew from Downey, California, out to the high desert, and I worked on Columbia. And even if my career had stopped there, if I'd not become an astronaut, I was in heaven. I was working on a space plane that was going to do amazing things. But while I was at Rockwell, NASA opened up the applications for space shuttle astronauts, and I applied. I was selected as the final 100, brought to the Johnson Space Center, and went through interviews. I was not selected. I was extremely disappointed, and I questioned my choices. I kept asking, you know, was this in the plan for my life? You know, am I going to the right direction? And then one night I realized that even if I failed, I was happiest following my quest. I was learning. I was meeting like-minded people. I was excited to get up in the morning. So when NASA offered me a job as a flight controller, I accepted. I went down to the Johnson Space Center. I worked with the famous Gene Kranz. Failure is not an option. He brought back Apollo 13. He was my flight director. And I reapplied for the second shuttle class, and I was selected. And I joined 20 other amazing people, most who've had backgrounds just like mine. Grew up in small farming towns where people said you could become anything you wanted if you worked hard enough. It didn't matter where your parents came from or family came from. It was all about you deciding your own journey. And that's one of the lessons I want to impart to you today. It's not my path that matters, it's your path. It's following your dreams and quests, but being prepared for them, which is what you're doing right now. Our country needs you. We need engineers. We need scientists, mathematicians, chemists, physicists, the life science professionals. We need you to be prosperous and to help move us into the 21st century, because there's now a shortage. We're back at a Sputnik moment, and you're going to fill a critical need as you go forward. Everything else that happened after that, these were not things I aspired to. I just got up in the morning. I loved to work. I loved my job. And things came along. NASA once put out a poster called "Your altitude is determined by your attitude." And I used to give that to young kids because I sincerely believe it. I go back to my grandparents and my parents and that culture of education, of positive thinking and working hard. But along the way, it's also important to thank the people that made it happen. I invited my high school teachers and Doc to my first launch. Doc hugged my mother so hard he cracked her rib. She recovered. And along the way, I've tried to keep track of my faculty. And this morning, I got another message from the daughter of one of my elderly faculty saying he's ailing and would I do something for a retirement. And I will do that. And I hope you'll turn around and thank those people who helped you along the way. And I hope that you'll also remember that the most important possession you take away with you today is your knowledge. No one can ever take that away. The father of modern rocketry in this country is Robert Goddard, born the same year as my grandfather, 1887. When he graduated from high school at the age of 17, he decided that he wanted to build rockets to go to Mars. That's pretty remarkable in this day and age. He became a physicist, and in the 1920s, he gave a lecture in New York, a public lecture. And the next day, the New York Times wrote a scathing article about his lecture saying, doesn't even the high school student know that it's impossible to build rockets, liquid-fueled rockets, to go to Mars? He did not let that public press deter him. In today's world, that would be social media. Don't let it deter you. He didn't. He continued with his research, and although he died before we went to the moon, on the day that we launched to the moon, the New York Times published a public apology to Robert Goddard on the front page of its newspaper. And that's why we have the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. It's why we have rovers on Mars. It's because one man's dream allowed it to happen. At the age of 17, in his graduation speech, he said the following words, and they're engraved in stone at the Goddard Space Flight Center, and I have them on my desk. Who is to say what is impossible? For it is the dreams of yesterday that are the hopes of today that become the realities of tomorrow. I'm counting on all of you to help us get to the realities of tomorrow. Thank you very much.
The awarding of honorary degrees is a long-standing tradition at Rowan University. We select individuals whose accomplishments are meritorious and provide inspiration to our graduates and to the entire university community. Today, we honor such a person. Dr. Bonnie Dunbar has been a staunch supporter of higher education. She has made great achievements as a NASA astronaut, as a president and CEO of the Museum of Flight, as director of the University of Houston's STEM Center, as an engineer, and as an educator. And she is an excellent example for all students, in particular science, engineering, technology, and mathematics students. Would Dr. Newell and Trustee Smith please join me at the podium? Trustee Smith, it is my privilege and pleasure to recommend to you that the honorary degree of Doctor of Engineering be presented to Dr. Bonnie Jean Dunbar in recognition of her many contributions to STEM fields, the U.S. space program, and this country.
Mr. President, I am pleased to receive this recommendation. By the authority granted me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, today we honor ourselves as we bestow upon Dr. Bonnie Jean Dunbar the honorary degree of Doctor of Engineering with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto.
This week, we are graduating 40 students who have served our country as members of the military or the National Guard. Many of them served overseas. We recognize the challenges and hardships of being overseas and then transitioning back home to Rowan to complete their education. Will those students who have served in the military or National Guard please stand to be recognized? You may be seated. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to recognize the graduates who have excelled in their academic studies while here at Rowan. These students are graduating today with honors and fall into 3 levels of achievements. Students graduating cum laude have achieved a grade point average of 3.45 up to 3.64. Will those students who have graduated cum laude please stand to be recognized? Please be seated. Students graduating magna cum laude have achieved grade point average of 3.65 up to 3.84. Will those students who have graduating magna cum laude please stand to be recognized? Thank you. Please be seated. Students graduating summa cum laude, the highest honor, have achieved grade point average of 3.85 up to 4.0. Will those students who have achieved this distinction please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. Congratulations to all of you for your accomplishments.
At this time, I would like to recognize the medallion winners, honors concentration graduates, and our Honor Society members. They are listed in the program and have been recognized at previous ceremonies. Will all of these graduates please stand? Thank you and congratulations on your achievements. You may be seated.
So, good morning, graduates and families, and our distinguished stage party. My name is Tony Lohman. I'm the Dean of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering. I think I am perhaps the luckiest person up here today. So I have this honor for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm going to begin the process of getting you towards actually getting your degree now. The second, I'm truly honored to be the Dean of the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering, and I have the great pleasure today to have the first graduating class from this college bearing Mr. Rowan's name. So I'd like to thank Mr. Rowan for this tremendous honor for the college. So we heard Dr. Hushman and Board Member Smith speak about the tremendous change at this university. And I think your class in the College of Engineering really represents that change. You're the largest class that we have graduated to date. You're 50% larger than any other engineering class that's graduated to date. And you're truly a remarkable group of students. I've gotten to know you very well in my short time here. You've watched us transform. Our faculty has grown. We've transformed from a college with 4 departments to a comprehensive, research-intensive College of Engineering with 5 programs in biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical computer engineering, civil and environmental engineering, and of course, mechanical engineering. Our graduate programs are growing. You're offered more opportunities for research in your own classes, and we enrolled the first class of doctoral students this past winter. So it's truly an exciting time, and you were a great part of our growth. So we're only a 20-year-old college, not even 20 years old, and already we've established a tremendous reputation in the international engineering education community. A lot of that is due to the hard work of our faculty. A lot of that is due to the achievements of our alums. And of course, I think the next bit of accolades are going to come from your success and your passion in the field. So I urge you to listen to Dr. Dunbar's advice and follow your passions. I've seen your tremendous creativity. I've seen your tremendous passion in your clinic projects. And I look forward to hearing great things from you as you move forward. So Dr. Hushman, Dr. Newell, Trustee Smith, and Mr. Rowan, I proudly present to you the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering Class of 2015. So to begin with, I'd like to ask the students in our graduate programs in chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical and computer engineering, engineering management, and mechanical engineering, master's candidates, please rise to be recognized. Thank you. You may be seated. May I ask the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering, please rise. Thank you. Be seated, please. May I ask the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, please rise. Thanks. Please be seated. May I ask the students for candidates for Bachelor of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering to please rise. Thank you. Please be seated. And last, the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, please rise. So congratulations to all the graduates in the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Karen McGee Sauer, and I'm the Dean of the College of Science and Mathematics and the School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions. Student-centered and research-rich, the College of Science and Mathematics is critical to Rowan University's mission in becoming the economic engine for New Jersey. The college consists of 7 academic departments: biological sciences, chemistry and biochemistry, computer science, mathematics, nursing, physics and astronomy, and psychology. The School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions is the multidisciplinary home for Rowan's new biomedical science and health programs, and includes the Department of Biomedical and Translational Sciences and the Department of Health and Exercise Science. Our graduates are poised to join the fast-growing workforces in biotechnology and health-related professions. Throughout our programs, we educate students who are prepared not just to land jobs in key fields, but to be leaders in science, technology, healthcare, and more. Through exceptional academic offerings and extensive research and internship opportunities, the students before you are ready to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Dr. Hushman, Dr. Newell, Trustee Smith, I proudly present to you members of the next generation of scientists, mathematicians, and health professionals, all members of the class of 2015 in the College of Science and Mathematics and the School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions. Starting with our graduate programs, Applied Behavior Analysis, Clinical Mental Health Counseling, Computer Science and Mathematics in the College of Science and Math, and Wellness and Lifestyle Management in the School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions. Will all master's candidates please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. Now to our bachelor's candidates. Will the candidates please rise as their program is announced? We'll start with bachelor programs in the College of Science and Mathematics. Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. You may please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences. Please stand. Thank you. Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry. Please stand. Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Bachelor of Science in Physical Science. Anyone? There we go. There we go. Thank you. Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in Physics. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Finally, bachelor programs in the School of Biomedical Science and Health Professions. Bachelor of Science in Athletic Training. Please stand. Bachelor of Arts in Health and Physical Education. Thank you. And Bachelor of Arts in Health and Exercise Science. Thank you, and congratulations to all.
I will now recognize the candidates for the master's degree. Before I do that, I just want to make sure that we're going to force you to stand up and sit down about 200 times before we give you your degrees. So will the candidates please rise? Candidates for all the master's degree, please stand up. Dr. New, will you please certify the master's degree candidates?
Mr. President, the candidates whose name appear upon the printed program and who have successfully met all requirements for the Masters of Arts and Masters of Science degrees are hereby certified by the faculty for receipt of their degrees. You're not done yet.
I'm sorry. Trustee Smith, these candidates have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation. I present them to you as proper recipients of the Masters of Arts and Master of Science degrees.
Master's degree candidates for the class of 2015 whose names appear upon the printed program and who have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation by the authority vested in me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the Master of Arts and the Master of Science degree with all the rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
You may be seated. Thank you. I will now recognize the candidates for the bachelor's degree. Dr. Newell, will you please certify the bachelor's degree candidates?
Will all Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing candidates please rise? That's all the rest of you. Mr. President, the candidates whose names appear upon the printed program and who have successfully completed all of the requirements for the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing degrees are hereby certified by the faculty for the receipt of their degrees.
Trustee Smith, these candidates have been certified as having completed all the requirements for graduation. I present them to you as proper recipients of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing degrees.
Members of the class of 2015, whose names appear upon the printed program and who have been certified as having completed all of the requirements for graduation. By the authority vested in me as a member of the Rowan University Board of Trustees, I confer upon you a degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing, with all the rights, privileges, obligations, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Will Ms. Jamelyn Kirschart, student trustee, please come to the podium.
Good morning, fellow students, administrators, trustees, professors, staff, overly emotional parents, siblings, grandparents, and friends. Today we come together to celebrate the achievements of the Rowan University class of 2015. While commencement speeches often tend to drown audience members in cliches such as, "This is the beginning," "The future belongs to you," "Go change the world," etc., these ideas, while somewhat truthful, are not profound. What I would like to do today is suggest to you a couple of things that I believe truly matter. You can all be seated. You'll stand again in a minute, don't worry. By day's end, we will finally be able to call ourselves alumni of this great institution. We will be on our own, celebrating freedom from our professors, advisors, RAs, and food at the caf. No more papers, no more all-nighters, no more Senate, no more Wi-Fi or parking problems, no more midnight submissions on Blackboard, no more Blackboard. We are all aware that being smart was not enough to get us here today. Through painful exams, papers, labs, studying, and extracurricular activities, we have tested our will, our heart, and our endurance. And for some of us, our natural inclination to procrastinate. During our time here at Rowan, we've had some of the happiest moments of our lives, forged permanent friendships, and created countless memories. But we have also experienced some of the most stressful or difficult moments in our lives thus far, all of which shaped the people we are today. We all came from different places, and each of us has a different reason for being here. Some of us are the first generation of college graduates in our families, and some of us hail from generations of Glassboro State and Rowan alumni. Very keenly, I remember the day I decided to attend Rowan. On Accepted Students Day, our Vice President of Student Life, Dean Richard Jones, gave a speech to all prospective students. He told us that like the penguins in the movie Happy Feet, our hearts would sing when we found the place we were meant to be. He reminded us that our heart song is the voice we hear inside. It's who we truly are. And he said, you can't be truly penguin, or for that matter, a prof, without it. A heart song, Dean Jones added, is not something that we can be taught. Each of us has to find it by ourselves. We would know, he said, if Rowan was the place where we were meant to discover it. My heart started singing on that day, and I will forever be grateful that it brought me here. Class of 2015, we have spent the last few years finding our heart songs by discovering ourselves, the things we love, and the people we hope to be. We all came to Rowan not knowing what we would become or what we would accomplish, but we will leave knowing who we are, and that is a gift to be cherished and remembered. We may have all come here for different reasons, but we leave here together all having at least one thing in common. We will forever be the only Rowan University graduates of the class of 2015. So as we celebrate our graduation and move on to graduate school, jobs, and other opportunities, we also need to celebrate the people around us, the people who helped shape us into who we are now. I implore you to say thank you to your friends, your professors, your roommates, your family, and then celebrate together what you have achieved. As we graduate today, I encourage every one of you to wake up tomorrow, the next day, and every day after that, keeping in mind one single fundamental truth, that the world is yours, and if you work hard, you can achieve anything you want. So as you leave Rowan, I urge you to remember to celebrate every moment as it comes. Life is short, and we all know that time goes fast. Finally, I leave you today with a reminder of a lesson that our Rowan years taught each of us outside of the classroom. In the immortal words of a doctor, who is as much a doctor as Dr. Dre? You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Good luck, graduates, and thank you for what you've brought to our institution. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Could all undergraduate students please rise for the tossing of the tassel from right to left? Please join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You may be seated.
In 30 minutes, ceremonies will begin in the following locations: the School of Biomedical Sciences and Health Professions in the Student Recreation Center. For the Henry M. Rowan College of Engineering, SB Gymnasium. For the College of Science and Mathematics, please remain on the University Green. The audience is requested to remain in place until the platform party has recessed. We also ask that special needs guests please make their way to the special needs transportation areas to be transported to the college ceremony locations. Special needs guests on the left side of the green should walk forward to the golf carts between bunts and the baseball field. Special needs guests on the right side of the green should walk past Bowl Hall to the shuttles waiting in parking lot P. We ask the rest of our guests please respect their needs to reach these locations. After the recessional, all guests should move promptly to the College of Engineering ceremonies. Will everyone please rise for the alma mater and remain standing for the benediction and recessional?
Thy banner unfurled, O thy
The end of Commencement 2015 is imminent. Formal activities soon will be over, and our newest graduates will leave to celebrate with their families and friends. Graduates, today marks an ending and a beginning. You not only leave here as a graduate, but you also prepare to enter the next chapter of your lives. Perhaps graduate school, military service, volunteerism, an internship, a new job. As you leave campus as our newest alumni, celebrate your accomplishments, treasure your memories of Rowan University, plan to use the knowledge you have gained, and maintain your friendships with your ties to your alma mater. As we give thanks for this day, I end with something Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford said in a 2009 commencement ceremony. I quote her, "You cannot authentically live anyone's life but your own. That is the deal that life offers us." To this straightforward thought, I add, seniors, graduates, go make the best deal possible, live the best life possible, and make a difference to the world. May God bless the class of 2015, and God bless America.